You think you're tired. You think you've given everything you have. But let me tell you something you're not ready to hear. You haven't even scratched the surface of what you're truly capable of. Because the moment life pushed back, you hesitated. The moment failure showed up at your door, you treated it like a stop sign instead of a signal to go harder. And right now, somewhere deep inside you, there's a version of yourself watching you make excuses, watching you settle, watching you shrink. And that version knows the truth even when you refuse to face it. Mental toughness is not built when everything goes right. It is forged in the moments when everything falls apart, when the plan fails, when the people leave, when the results don't come, and you decide to keep moving anyway. That is where real strength is born. Not in comfort, not in consistency, but in chaos. Most people run from failure like it's something to be ashamed of. They hide from it, distract themselves, scroll endlessly through other people's highlight reels, and then wonder why their own life isn't changing. But failure is the most honest teacher you will ever face. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't sugarcoat your weaknesses. It walks straight up to you, looks you dead in the eyes, and shows you exactly who you are. Your limits, your laziness, your lack of discipline, your fear. And instead of embracing that brutal honesty, most people look away. That is the difference between those who talk about success and those who actually live it. Every person who has ever built an unbreakable mindset has walked through repeated failure. Not once, not twice, hundreds of times. And they didn't become strong in spite of it. They became strong because of it. Because failure stripped away the fake confidence, burned down the illusions, and forced them to confront the raw truth of who they really were. And in that moment, that terrifying, humbling, painful moment, transformation began. But only for those who had the courage to stay in the fight. Think about David Goggins, a man who didn't just talk about struggle, he went out and hunted it. He ran ultra marathons on broken legs. He completed Hell Week on a fractured foot. He didn't do it because it felt good. He did it because he understood something most people will never accept, that pain is a tool, suffering is a classroom, and failure is the entrance exam to greatness. And here's what matters most. He was not born different. He built that mindset through deliberate suffering, through repeated failure, through choosing the hard path every single time comfort offered him an easier way out. That same choice is available to you right now in your current situation. But let's be honest about something. And this is the part most motivational content skips over. The real danger is not failure itself. The real danger is what happens in your mind after failure. Because when you are alone, when nobody is watching, when you are staring at another missed goal or another broken plan, your mind becomes your worst enemy. It starts whispering, maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you should slow down. Maybe this just isn't for you. And if you listen to that voice, even for a second, you start sliding backwards, slowly at first, then all at once. And before you realize it, you are trapped in a cycle of hesitation, self-doubt, and inaction, watching your potential quietly disappear. That is how most people lose, not from one catastrophic failure, but from the slow, invisible surrender to that voice inside their head. This is where the story changes. If you can catch yourself in that moment, if you can become aware of that weakness and refuse to obey it, you take your power back. You remind yourself that failure is not a verdict. It is feedback. It is information, precise, unfiltered, and brutally accurate, showing you exactly where to improve, exactly where discipline is lacking, exactly where you need to go harder. And instead of running from it, you lean in. You study it, you break it down. You come back more dangerous than before. But understand, this is not a process that happens overnight. This is a brutal, repetitive grind that tests your patience, your consistency, and your willpower every single day. There will be stretches where you give absolutely everything and still come up short, where progress feels invisible, where effort feels wasted, where the logical part of your brain starts building a case for quitting. And this is the moment most people never talk about, the silent, unglamorous phase where motivation has completely disappeared and all that remains is discipline. If you don't have that discipline, you will fall apart because motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes like weather, but discipline is a decision, a commitment you make to yourself that doesn't expire when you stop feeling inspired. Discipline is what carries you through the phases of your journey that nobody will celebrate, through the 5 a.m. mornings that nobody sees, through the failures that nobody claps for. And if you can build that, if you can show up with full effort on the days you least feel like it, you become the kind of person that failure simply cannot break. At some point, you have to stop lying to yourself. The gap between who you are and who you claim you want to be is built brick by brick from the decisions you avoid every single day. And failure is He mirror that exposes that gap, whether you like it or not. It doesn't protect your ego. It doesn't soften the blow. It shows you exactly where you stand. And most people hate what they see. So they look away, they stay comfortable, they make peace with average because confronting the truth requires too much courage. But if you are serious, genuinely serious, about building a mind that cannot be broken, you have to develop a different relationship with failure. You have to stop taking it personally and start taking it strategically. Every setback is a direct message telling you to level up. Every loss is exposing a gap in your preparation. Every mistake is pointing to a habit that needs to change. Failure does not care about your intentions. It responds only to your actions. And if your actions are weak, inconsistent, or driven by emotion, your results will reflect that every single time. This is where real transformation happens. Because the moment you accept full responsibility, the moment you stop blaming the circumstances, the timing, the people, the economy, and you look yourself in the mirror and say, this is on me, everything shifts. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop making plans you never execute. You start building systems. You start building habits. You start building the kind of discipline that doesn't bend under pressure, that doesn't disappear when life gets hard, that doesn't need perfect conditions to function. Here is the truth that most people are not ready to hear. You are going to fail again. Not once, not twice. Over and over again, and on a scale that will genuinely test whether you believe in yourself or not. If that scares you, then you are not ready for the growth you say you want. Because failure is not something you eliminate on the path to success. It is the path. It is built into every step forward. Every great achievement sits on a foundation of spectacular, repeated, painful failure. The more you expose yourself to it, the stronger your mind becomes. The more resilient your perspective grows. The more control you develop over your emotions when everything around you is falling apart. And eventually, not quickly, but eventually, you reach a point where failure no longer rattles you. It no longer slows you down. It becomes part of your process, part of your identity, part of the grind you not only accept, but expect. And that is when everything starts to shift in a way that is almost impossible to describe until you experience it. Because now you are no longer reacting to life. You are attacking it. You are no longer waiting for the right moment. You are creating it. You are no longer afraid of discomfort. You are actively seeking it because you understand that every ounce of struggle you voluntarily embrace is building something inside you that cannot be bought, borrowed, or taken away.